Welcome to The Explainer. So today, we're tackling what is, without a doubt, the absolute #1 most confused topic in all of basic economics. Seriously, whether you're a first-year student cramming for an exam or a seasoned business pro, this single concept trips up more people than almost anything else. We're going to completely demystify how to differentiate between variations in quantity demanded and changes in overall demand. It's an absolute game changer once it clicks.
Let me ask you a quick question. Have you ever used the word demand when you actually meant quantity demanded? Now, I know it sounds like pure semantics, right? Like we're just splitting hairs. But in the economic world, these two phrases describe totally different realities. So my promise to you is that by the end of this explainer, you're going to have a crystal clear mental model, and you will literally never make this mistake again.
Okay, let's dive right into this. What you're seeing here is our treasure map for today. It brilliantly separates the two worlds we're exploring. Up top, we have the law of demand, which is governed strictly by price. And then on the bottom, we've got this broader, shifting world that's driven by external factors. We're going to dissect this whole shebang step by step so you can see exactly how market mechanics actually function in real life.
Here's our quick roadmap for the explainer. Part 1, we cover movements explained. Part 2 is all about shifts. And in Part 3, we'll wrap it all up with a summary matrix.
Let's jump right into Part 1, Movements Explained.
I want you to imagine a highly controlled, completely closed-off laboratory. In this very specific economic world, things are super stable, very isolated, and there is only one variable that holds any power whatsoever, and that is price. When we talk about a change in quantity demanded, we are talking about a change that is caused only by a change in the product's own price. In this scenario, price is absolutely king. The price tag changes, and consumers react to that price tag. That's it. Everything else happening out in the real world is completely ignored.
Now, what's really interesting here is this seesaw setup. It perfectly captures the fundamental inverse relationship we're dealing with. Look at how the heavy price weight sits on one side and the quantity demanded basket sits on the other. It's like a giant balancing act. If the price drops, meaning that price weight lifts up, the quantity demanded goes up. If the price rises, well, the quantity demanded goes down. It operates strictly along a rigid, predetermined track.
But, for this rigid track to actually work, economists have to make a massive assumption. We have to assume that literally all other factors remain constant. Your income doesn't change. Your tastes and fashion preferences, they don't change. The prices of other related goods, unchanged. This assumption is famously called ceteris paribus. Basically, we're hitting the pause button on the rest of the universe so we can watch exactly what happens when only the price tag is tweaked.
Because we're locked into this single track, we use very specific words to describe what's happening. When the price drops and consumers buy more, we call that an expansion. We literally just move down along the existing curve. When the price rises and consumers buy less, we call that a contraction, and we move up along that same curve. The absolutely crucial takeaway here is that you are physically moving along the exact same line. The line itself hasn't moved a single inch.
All right, that brings us to Part 2, Shifts Explained.
So, here is the plot twist. We are now opening the doors of our isolated little laboratory and stepping out into the chaotic, dynamic real world. We're dropping that ceteris paribus assumption completely. The crucial point is this. To understand a shift, we must now imagine that the product's own price tag is absolutely frozen. The price is locked in place. It hasn't changed by a single cent. Instead, it's the surrounding world that is changing.
And this creates what we call a change in demand. Notice the difference there. Since the price didn't change, we obviously can't just slide along our old track anymore. Instead, external factors force us to pick up the entire demand curve and move it to a completely new location, shifting it either to the left or to the right. The actual fundamental capacity of the market has completely changed.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what those external levers are. For example, if consumer income increases, people might suddenly demand more normal goods like, say, new clothes or flat-screen TVs. That shifts the whole curve to the right, even if the price of TVs never changed. Or think about related goods. If the price of coffee suddenly skyrockets, people are going to flock to tea instead, right? That's a substitute good. The demand curve for tea shifts right, not because tea got any cheaper, but because its rival got way more expensive. These are the powerful external levers that move the entire market.
Just like before, we have specific terminology here, and it's totally different from what we use for movements. When the entire curve shifts to the right, representing higher demand at every possible price, we call it an increase in demand. When external factors like maybe a drop in income or a fall in the price of a substitute cause the curve to shift left, we call it a decrease in demand. So remember, increase and decrease mean the whole line moved. Expansion and contraction mean you just slid along the line.
Moving on to Part 3, Summary Matrix. This is your visual cheat sheet. Okay, we've covered a lot of ground today, so let's synthesize everything into this final summary matrix to build that complete picture. Look at how neatly this contrasts the two concepts. Over on the left, if the cause is the product's own price, it's a movement, a variation in quantity demanded. That results in an expansion or contraction, and visually, you're just sliding along the existing curve. But if the cause is literally any factor other than price, like income, tastes, or related goods, it is a shift in overall demand. We call this an increase or decrease, and visually, the entire curve is moving left or right. Seriously, burn this matrix into your memory and you will master market analysis for sure.
To wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a quick challenge to test your new mastery. Imagine you're analyzing the beverage market. You observe that the price of coffee has just risen sharply due to a poor harvest. Knowing what you now know about external levers and substitute goods, what exactly happens to the demand curve for tea? Does it just move along the line, or does the entire line shift? I'll let you ponder that one as you look at the real world through your newly upgraded economic lens. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep exploring.